Here we are at Minneopa, hole number 1. Get ready to tee off. I think it's like 6:30. I just got a brand new set of irons, Cobra T-Rails, so I'm pretty excited to test those out. If you listen closely, that kid just said, "Oh, that was piped." Little does he know, it wasn't piped. I'm in the rough, the right side. It's basically my landing area. They should name it after me. First shot. I think that was an 8-iron. And I did not hit it cleanly, but pin high, just to the right. Decent chip. Rolls out a bit. I did not get any test putts in, and that will be evident the first couple of holes. This is like a 10-footer. The camera doesn't do it justice. Kind of downhill. Really didn't feel good over any putt at all today. I don't know why. And now I see why I should have probably putted a couple times, because these things were slick. It's a longer second putt than the first putt. That always feels terrible. At least you get a line if you pay attention, so that's cool. Just missed it. 3-putt, first hole. Always fun. Second hole, par 4. I usually play this one pretty okay. The left is available for my slice. I typically kind of balloon it up over to the pine trees on the right there into the shared rough between the first and the second. And that's exactly what I do, giving the old game improvement irons a chance to shine again. I think this is a 6-iron. It's like 180. And it felt good. I knew it was right. I didn't know the distance. I was a little short. So now on these, I like to feel out the sand wedge first. If there's a cushion underneath to flop, I'll typically go with the sand wedge from this distance, but there was nothing. It was flat, so I pulled out the pitching wedge. I'm going to go with a bump and run, try to land it kind of right where the rough ends. That's the plan. Maybe 10 feet to the right of the pin, because it's all going to funnel down that way to the left. I fail to execute. It's short. The rough grabs it, slows it down. So it falls. I mean, it was the right idea. Just poor execution. Ended up below the hole, which isn't terrible. Here I am, below the hole. I like to pull the pin. I'm not a fan that we don't pull the pin anymore. I know that we didn't do it during the pandemic, but like now nobody pulls the pin ever, and I hate it. I guess it's just personal opinion, but sometimes I feel like I'll hit the pin, and since like the wind's blowing it a little bit, like the ball will hit it and bounce back out of the hole. So I'd rather just not have the pin in. Unless obviously I'm off the green or, a long putt. This is a terrible putt. As you'll see, it rolls out and almost hits the flagstick on the ground. Still struggling with the speed of the greens. Probably should have hit the practice green before the round. Still not feeling good over any putt. I don't know why. Just no confidence in the putter right away. And missed it. Missed it. Tapped it in with the handle. Another 3-putt. Third hole. Really difficult hole for me because there's just nothing for the slice. So I've taken to pulling the 3-wood and basically trying to throw it up left over that big tree. Just kind of have it slice up over the top of it, land in the fairway. I've had a fair amount of success with that. This one I hit thin. It does the same thing though. Somehow managed to get through all that shit over there. And I'm actually in really good position. So I think this is pitching wedge and then choked up a little bit. And I was kind of in a hole, so I had to dig it out. I hit a bump. If I would have went left, I'd have been in a grass trap, but I went right instead, and I'm like 3 feet for birdie. Feeling pretty good. Those dudes in the cart in the back there, they're teeing off on 6. I note them because they'll make an appearance later. A few appearances. Feeling really nervous over the birdie putt. Kind of on a ridge. Not really sure what it's going to do. Feels straight. Made it. So happy I forgot to pick the ball out of the cup first. 4th hole. Not really sure if the game improvements are going to up my distance. I typically hit an 8 from here. I pulled a 9. Just because I kind of been hitting them a little longer. Feels good, but it's short. I don't know. It didn't seem that windy. I don't know if it got up in the wind. I don't know if I just hit it short. I don't know if it... I don't know. I got nothing. But it was short. This one feels good. It's a nice fluffy lie in the fairway. So I feel like I can get under it with the sand wedge. I really hit that one crisp. But it was moving. And it did not hit the pin. So we're over the green. Coming back. Bump and run time. Probably my favorite shot of my game. I feel like I'm pretty good with this. That was not an example of how good I think I am. Here we go. No confidence in the putter yet again. Gonna stand over this. I don't know, it's like a 5-footer or something like that. This green doesn't do much unless you're on the edges, but it feels like it does. So I don't know, that was in the back of my mind. Needless to say, I whiff. So I throw another one down. It's the old prove it to myself that I'm not as bad as I think I am. Drained it. Grabbed that one, decided to putt it again, kind of double proof that I'm not terrible. Drain that one too. So, I mean, we'll take the double bogey, but we know we're better than that. 5th hole. I'm not sure, but it's got to be the hardest hole on the course. It's a 210-yard par 3 over this valley. I don't know. I mean, I played all right. I'm a little short most of the time, which isn't terrible. Sometimes I really stripe one, then I'm over. This one, bad contact. I'm a ways out. Short right. So I got this tree in my way, and I decide I got a fluffy enough lie to try to go up over it. Really just focusing on not lifting my head and thinning this one into the 6th fairway. Up over the tree. Actually a pretty good shot. Not quite the distance I needed, but close enough. Leave me with another bump and run. I would rather bump and run than have a lag putt. If I could bump and run on the green from 40 feet away, I would do that. This is pretty good. I think it settles up to like, I don't know, 3 feet, 4 feet. So now, if you see back on the tee where I came from towards the highway, there's people teeing off on a par 3 towards me, even though I just pulled the pin. And it's those guys that were teeing off on 6 when I was putting in on 3. They looped around, and now they're hitting into me, and they basically rushed me through the rest of the round. So I get a little frustrated more and more for the rest of the round, and you'll see it come out on 8. Hole number 6, there's nothing on the left. Really kind of messes with the slice. There's just no room for it to get going. So I typically end up pretty far off to the right in the rough, messing with all those trees. Sometimes I get lucky and kind of keep it somewhat close to the fairway, but this hole's, it's not a great hole for me. Here I am. I mean, I got an okay look. Camera angle's a little goofy on it, but I actually have some daylight. I hit it pretty well. Still kind of figuring the distances out with the clubs. So this one's a little short. I do the sand wedge, pitching wedge thing again. There's no room underneath this thing, so I'm going to do the bump and run. Just don't feel confident I'm going to get the ball in the air. This one's pretty good. I roll it to about 5 feet. I think this putt looks worse than it was on camera. Worse on camera than it was. It seemed pretty straightforward from where I was looking at it. If you look in the back, in the distance, you can actually see those guys. They've already teed off. They teed off from the women's tee on this hole for some reason, and they're already driving towards me. It's a pretty short, I think it's like 200 yards from the women's tee. So I don't understand why they looped back around and then are just following me so tightly. There was nobody behind me. They could have just looped around again, but instead they just had to follow me. 7th hole. I've been putting these short and to the right. Story of, my golf game. This one feels good. It's actually decent distance. I wasn't aimed towards the hole. I'm on the right tier, which is good. I'm kind of in some shaggy stuff. It's not like the thick stuff, but it's in there. Pretty good effort from where that was at. I'm on the green. It's a putt, but I'm not confident in the putter. Haven't been all day. Plus then I got these guys essentially teeing off right now. So that's in the back of my mind. It's not really an excuse, but it is an excuse. Just a terrible putt. Pull the pin, because that's how you golf. and then I rushed a putt, and I'm pretty frustrated. Forget to grab the ball again. So now you can see those guys on the 7th green, and I just got to the 8th tee box. Like, that's it. I just don't understand. I don't know. It got to me. I was watching them now, and my performance takes a bit of a hit. Shanked that one to the left. Kind of give those guys the side eye. I don't know why they're in my head, but they are. Try another one. Shank it to the right, or to the left. I don't even know my directions anymore. That's how bad those drives were. Have to pull another one out of the bag. So it was at this point I decided I was going to go to the range after this round. And I actually had a pretty productive range session. I think I figured something out. This one's in play, but it just started to the left, and thankfully it sliced before it hit the trees. So at least I got something out of it. Gonna try to dig this one out. It nestled down into this thick stuff pretty good. Really didn't think I had a chance with this one. As you can hear, right into the willow tree. Kind of fighting the willow. Just gonna chip this one up. Good contact. Actually really happy with the irons. They feel great. The miss hits aren't anywhere near as bad, and the good hits are they're just crispy. They feel good. My old clubs were about 8 years old, so I mean that probably obviously played into it, but God, they feel good. I'm happy. I'm happy with those clubs. Short little putt. Just terrible. Like, at this point I'm frustrated. Dropping the putter. Just no good. Last hole. Try to end on a positive note. Gonna hit the range after this. Just crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. Crushed it up under this tree. Try to get cheeky with like this weird low pitching wedge play, and it's just not the play, as you can see. Not a great shot. This is another fluffy lie. This kind of reminds me of the sand wedge on 4. Really soft grass. And I really feel like I made great contact with the ball. I just put too much into it. It's gotta sit. It doesn't sit. It felt good though, and I'm okay with that. A little bump and run down this hill. Always a little sketchy, but I like the bump and run. Almost hold it. Would have felt good to hold that one out. Pull the pin like a gentleman. Line this up. Those dudes must have struggled on the 8th green or something, because they weren't anywhere to be seen at this point in time, so I felt good about lining it up. Made it. Heading to the range. Not a terrible round. Felt good with the new clubs. That's it.